The work of the ESAIC Foundation intersects with health and human rights by focusing on neighborhoods and redeveloping specifically the ESAIC neighborhood in Atlanta so that all people that live there can thrive. We understand that once neighborhoods are healthy, and by healthy, we say that people are gainfully employed, that they have access to food, access to housing, and access to high quality education options, that they can themselves thrive if they're living in a thriving neighborhood. And then I would also say, as it relates to human rights, we are intentional by focusing on access to key things that people, that residents need to thrive and to survive, and to be able to realize economic prosperity and access the American dream, and providing those services in a way that allows them to have a sense of human dignity and pride. The pandemic has changed our approach to our work by helping us to focus more deeply on the essential services that families need. Certainly when COVID-19 became an issue in 2019, and also the civil unrest, because we also consider that a pandemic as well, we realized that far too many of our families might be impacted by the digital divide, as the nation and the world had to exist remotely for learning, virtual learning for school, and also for work. So it was pushing us to think about ensuring that all of our families had access to a digital device, that we could support them with any rental and utility assistance, making sure that they had personal protection equipment, and making sure that they also did not suffer from food insecurity. So we say that the work that we do is resolving the crisis of poverty, and the pandemic is certainly not much different. We would like to see a few policies advance. We would like to see policies relooked at for who can access subsidized housing, because for most people in this country, if you've been convicted of a felony, you are unable to access a host of services, but the public housing piece becomes critically important. And we also want to begin to see charter schools, which has been instrumental in our model. It's not our only approach to our education work, but is a successful approach. Charter schools be able to access more resources to be able to drive the outcomes that they want with the students that they serve, which tend to be students from low-income families and from communities of concentrated poverty. Breaking the intergenerational cycle of poverty is work that requires patient capital, because it is not short-term work. Certainly, communities of concentrated poverty don't arrive at being in that state overnight. So to undo systemic racism that has plagued this country for more than 400 years, it requires the support and the patience of the philanthropic community, of the business community, due engagement of community leaders and community residents. And this is work that is rarely ever done. I'd say the same is true in ESAIC, that our work is not done, that while we are proud of the great outcomes that we have, that we will continue to advance this work in Eastlake, and along with purpose-built communities, a pro bono national nonprofit consulting firm, to be able to transform other communities across the country in the way that the Eastlake community has been transformed.